for the 2014 season or a period of it, and not disclosing them on the salary cap. It's putting them down to an administrative mistake on their part. So Marwan Koukash and the Salford Red Devils are fit for purpose when they make their administrative mistakes. But if the RFL have made an administrative mistake over whether they deregistered Jake Mullaney before they registered Kevin Locke and vice versa, they're not fit for purpose. But Marwan Koukash,
he's fit for purpose.
He's fit for purpose.
That's just a human error.
Yeah,
human error happens.
Even though he's made no mistakes that he's not admitting to, but he did openly admit to making these mistakes. There was a third issue as well over paying for a leadership course for a player to go on, which cost about £30,000, Tom, for this leadership course.
Clearly money well invested.
I'm not sure who it was. I hope it's like someone who's gone. I hope it's like Chase or Pula Tour or something like that.
Yeah, that'll be it, yeah.
But anyway, there's also, he said there was no allegations brought
Sending Raggy Chase on a leadership course is a bit like teaching a dog to play the xylophone, isn't it?
He did. What he didn't do is spell out what the RFL's allegation was for the 108 days and the 94,000. He just came up with his own arguments. He also admitted that even if it was an RFL administrative mistake, they were over the cap for those 8 days because of it. Yet he doesn't seem to put that into his figure of 52,000, which doesn't add up from the three figures he admitted to have made mistakes over, the two rents and the training course. He says there's no charge at all about the Maserati car for Evold. He didn't mention him by name, but we know what it was, and I think that's fine. I had no objection to that anyway, because it seemed to go along with what the rules say and stuff. But the Tony Pulatua one, he also said, can be disregarded because there was no mention of it. Well, in the RFL charges, well, I'm a bit confused that wasn't brought up at all for the side payments part of that. But also, he just says the RFL are making it up without telling us what they're making up. Whether he can or can't tell us, what's the point in the press conferences? He's going to give us made up figures and not tell us how the RFL figures have been added up. It was just baffling. And whilst he has got some legitimate concerns about the way the compliance unit operates, the way the salary cap is managed, I would say it would be better if clubs worked harder with the RFL rather than working hard to pull the wool over their eyes by trying to make payments to players outside of contractual agreements under the salary cap and things like that. I think there's a lot of credibility lost for Marwan Koukash for the way he's behaved with the things that have gone on with players inside his club, on and off the pitch, and the way he talks about these things that have happened, that loses some of his credibility when it comes to the wider aspect of who's telling the truth, who's fit for purpose, all of those things. Going back to his Catalans point, Pat Richards, I'm certain, will have a European passport.
Well, yeah.
He plays for Ireland. He lived in England for 10 years. I'm sure he'll have a 8 years, whatever it was.
Yes.
And I would guess that Vinny Anderson probably has, or is it Louis Anderson? Louis Anderson.
Although Vinny Anderson is still playing in France.
Louis Anderson might well have a European passport by now. He's been over here long enough.
Yeah, Battieri is fine.
I don't think Battieri would have been counted because he plays for France anyway, and was born... Not born in... Was he born in France?
He's French-born Australian parents, isn't he?
I think he's got an Australian dad and a European mum.
Yeah.
His dad was involved with the what's it called in the 90s, weren't he? The Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
Anyway, I stepped aside a bit there, but I don't see that Catalan's 9 players is any more than the players that Widnes have. We did a count earlier in the season, actually. Widnes have the same amount as Catalan. But some of those must have passports or qualifications, like Luke McGrath-Lulu had English by birth and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, there's other clubs who fall into that. There's probably other clubs who have broken the salary cap. I mean, I know this year Wigan had to get special dispensation to play Joe Brereton and Jack Wells in a game because of our injury situation and having Michael McAlorum off the books all year. Well, off the field all year, pretty much. So there are other things that happen inside and around things. The RFL have made mistakes in various aspects in the past. The clubs need to support the RFL, giving them more administrative support on these compliance issues. basically everyone should have. There should be more full disclosure. I'd be happy to help the RFL out if they wanted someone to come in and help them out.
It's a great job for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Look, I tend to agree with you. I think there are issues that the RFL need to resolve, but I don't think this is the correct forum in which to do it. Although if there is a benefit to this, it's that it draws attention to it and makes that part of the conversation. I think he's probably touched on something in terms of, I reckon that for time immemorial, teams across Super League will have been doing the old brown bag payment in a locker in Singapore when the Aussie players go home and all that jazz, all the stuff you hear about. It just will have happened, okay? Under no circumstances was that right, and was that within the rules. And if you get caught out, you'll pay the price. And that's, I think, the risk that clubs were prepared to take. And it's certainly a risk, and there's evidence to show that Marwan Koukash was prepared to take. That's fine. The problem,
he openly said he will, but he's happy to do it.
Exactly. The problem is that all this good stuff that he's suggesting, he's not doing it for the right reasons, okay? It's sleight of hand to draw your attention away from the fact that he's cocked up massively and has cost his now performing Salford side, and he's now gradually, well, I don't know if it's growing, but you're gradually more confident fan base of a successful season by their more recent standards. It's just a trick. It's to pull the wool over your eyes and to draw attention away from the fact that he's been trying to cheat the system and has failed spectacularly in doing so, I might add. So let's forget about that. Let's let the RFL handle Marwan Koukash and let the chips fall where they may on that, and let's just remove all that dross. And the week that we separate from that chaff is let's have a sensible, grown-up conversation about how we can improve things for our sport. Now, personally, do I think that a breakaway Super League is something that will happen? No, absolutely not, because there's a television deal in place, and if nothing else, Sky will sue the pants off any team that breaks away from them. So automatically, there you go. There's a financial reason why that won't happen. But there are things that we can talk about without worrying about Marwan Koukash and his little media show that do want some attention, like you say, the transparency between club and RFL and the administrative bodies, and making sure that the salary cap is something that we bring into line, and improving the way that the game is marketed abroad, are things that we can look at.
Marketed abroad and
at home. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, the RFL has definitely been guilty of not capitalising on the success of the last World Cup.
Even his comments about the Catalans and the money and stuff like that didn't add up. He was saying about how
he's windmill.
We have to contribute towards their travel costs somehow.
Right.
The English clubs have to contribute towards their travel costs. He says. Then later on, he says the only thing they're bringing in is the money they spend on travelling, and it's like, it was incoherent.
Yeah.
And he has a point with some of his stuff completely, like Michael Carter said, but not all of it. The RFL knowing about the indiscretions before now things. One of them they knew about in October or November 2014. I think that was the management course.
Yeah.
That went to a tribunal then. That was obviously brushed under the carpet because I'd not really heard about it.
No, I hadn't. I'd love to know what
and they knew about the rent things in March, April last year. Marwan Koukash must have known he was breaking the rules already in 2014 with those things, but he hasn't disclosed them in 2014 when he was under threat of relegation. He's disclosed they've come out.
Now that it's safer.
And then obviously the RFL felt they needed to put a bigger file together. That bigger file has found more possible indiscretions that Marwan Koukash hasn't been open to admitting or even talking about openly, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes on.
I'd love to know whether or not in the RFL's kind of operational procedures, whether there is a statute of limitations on how long you can know about an infringement for something like this, and then bring it. If there's a rule there,
I doubt it.
I doubt there is as well. I think they might want to. That's
rather than trying to knock the RFL's compliance unit down, I'd be looking for ways to build it up, strengthen it, support it more.
Couldn't agree.
To be completely honest.
Right, let's move on then. Widnes Vikings have been found £2,500 for fielding 14 players on 2 occasions during their 46-6 win over Hull FC in March.
This couldn't have come at a better time for Salford fans either. Fucking RFL.
That explains it then. Okay. The club admitted the offences when appearing in front of the RFL Independent Tribunal. Christine and Lloyd White are the players that remained on the field when they were supposed supposed to be substituted
That
with the
sounded like it was
latter.
Christina Lloyd White, the Whites.
Christine and Lloyd White. They're a lovely couple from Hertfordshire. Chris Dean and Lloyd White are the players that remained on the field, you twat, when they were supposed to be substituted, with the latter making a tackle close to his own try line. The incident occurred late into the game when the result was already certain. The tribunal therefore fined the Vikings £500 for the first incident and £2,000 for the second one. Yeah,
so a couple of people got in touch with this, pointing to the Salford thing, actually. Dargana, he asked the question if this other tweet he sent to us was correct and if the RFL are really that inconsistent. He sent a tweet from someone called Andy Crockett that said, Salford did it once and got a £5,000 fine and 2 points deducted. Widnes do it twice in one game and get half the fine, and Salford and got no points deducted. And then Sean Orton pointed out, just want to point out that Salford's point deduction was for 14 players after a failed appeal, no deduction given initially. Yeah, so obviously this was the Castleford game in, I think, 2014, wasn't it?
Yep.
When the unbelievably brilliant Vic Mauro came on to the field for Darryl Griffin, who stayed on the field, or the other way around, and then both of them together made 3 tackles on their goal line in a game that was a one-score game in the last 2 minutes of this one-score game.
I'm getting sick to death of your Vic Mauro bashing, man. He very nearly played for the Bulls.
And yeah, but they saw sense.
Yeah.
But
you're kidding out. Your Koukash was paying him $100,000 a year.
But anyway, well, 50 and then 50 for his security.
Sorry.
No, but anyway. Salford originally got a £10,000 fine. Marwan Koukash decided that was too much because St Helens had fielded an ineligible player 10 years before and only got fined £250 or something tiny.
Right.
That does seem inconsistent, but obviously there's a passage of time, there's a difference to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what they did on appeal was they changed it to a £5,000 fine and a 2 points deduction, because kind of at that point it was obvious that the Broncos were in the shithouse.
Yeah.
And the Bulls were also similarly
doomed.
Yeah, I think, if I'm right, I'm thinking it was that time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they accepted it, from what I could tell. What's the difference here is that was a one-score game in the last 2 minutes on the goal line with those 2 players affecting tackles together.
Yes.
This was a game that was already well and truly done and dusted.
Yeah.
Only one of the 2 players got involved in the game at all. One was just a kind of on the pitch too long to get off it sort of thing. As far as I understand, it was the Christine one.
So Christine Lloyd, not...
Yeah, Christine Lloyd, not Lloyd. No, Christine White, not Lloyd White, yeah. So there you go.
Right,
that's I don't think it's inconsistent. I think there were
I think that's
2 different versions of the same offence.
Yeah.
And both people have been punished quite strongly, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. Wakefield hooker Scott Moore has been given a match ban for eye gouging.
No, sorry, that's meant to say
4-match ban. I thought it was a 4-match ban for eye gouging, much more like it. Moore was charged with eye gouging his witness counterpart Aaron Jeremiah. The 4 pleaded not guilty, but was found guilty of the Grade E offence.
Yeah, Brian Davies got in touch and said no place for gouging in rugby league, whether the offender is a star player for my team or not. This all sort of fell on, because obviously Wakefield fans totally buy this not guilty plea, whereas everyone else kind of thinks if the touch judge's account of things matches entirely the witness player who was, gouged account of things, if there was visible evidence of an injury after the encounter, and the footage, whilst not perfect, supports that there was a grabbing motion towards the face, then he's probably guilty.
Yeah.
So that's I would trust.
On the balance of probability,
I would trust the disciplinary tribunal on this.
On the balance of probability, I would suggest that Scott Moore is guilty of this, and it's a grubby, scummy act.
And it's not like
it's not.
It's unheard of for him to act out.
No, true. Okay, Lee owner Derek Beaumont has revealed that the Centurions standoff Rangi Chase has left the club after playing only 5 games for them. The 2013 Man of Steel joined Lee from Salford in the close season, but has struggled to settle at the club. In an interview with the Daily Mirror, Chase revealed a battle with depression following a split from his wife Libby and children Tahi and Remy Ray, affecting his performance on the pitch. But now reunited with his family, he intends to spend an extended period away from the sport. Chase said, "This is the happiest I've been in my life. Rugby-wise, it hasn't gone well for me the last few years. It's not because of the game or where I've been at, it's just the situation I've been in as an individual. Me and my wife have just got back together recently for a year. We were finished. It happened when I was at Salford. It really hurt me and I went into a dark place. I was depressed a lot. Sometimes I couldn't even go out for groceries. I thought it would be a fresh start at Lee and I could give it my all, which I tried, but it wasn't enough. I wasn't seeing my kids as much and I beat myself up over that. It's taken a while for me to get over that and rugby sort of got in the way. Growing up, rugby league gave me a lot of things I never expected